Oh, what's up, guys? GotDave here, and it is Easter Sunday today, but just for the sake of this video, we're gonna call it Supermoto Sunday. Yeah! And that's what I'd like to talk about. Is I used to think that there was such a thing as a fake supermoto or a real supermoto. I guess there is such a thing as a real one, but I don't know if I really consider the fake ones anymore. You know, like I used to see guys that would buy a dual sport like this, and they'd spend like whatever it is, like $1,200, $1,500, and they'd get like a set of 17s and the street tires, and they'd get the bigger front brake rotor, and they'd move the front brake so that it was like, you know, gives you better braking in the front, and they'd be like, yeah, look at me, I got a supermoto. And I used to think to myself, you know, that's just a fake supermoto. It looks like a supermoto, but it's really just a dirt bike with the super soft dirt bike suspension and a lot of travel like dirt bikes have. And I was kind of right and kind of wrong, like at the same time. Like I was right in thinking that because it is still just a dirt bike, unless you do like front cartridges and you do like a rear shock or at least a rear spring, you know, at least a rear coil spring. It's going to be soft, like a dirt bike. It's not going to be stiff like a supermoto. What I am comparing that to is that Husqvarna 701 that I rode at the track, and that was what I would consider a factory supermoto. Like before I rode that bike, I was looking at it and I'm like, yeah, it looks like a dirt bike. And I was expecting it to feel like this bike does, and it didn't. It was totally stiff. It felt like the Duke. It felt like the Duke 690. It was really stiff, and it only had a little bit of suspension travel. It didn't have a lot of travel. It didn't move around underneath me. Under braking, it didn't nosedive, and under acceleration, it didn't lift the front end, and you know, like all the weird stuff, all the floaty, moving around type of stuff that this bike does that makes it so fun. And I guess that's better like for the track, you know, because you got stiffer suspension, you got shorter travel, you know, it's more of like a street bike, more of a track bike. But I really didn't think that that's how a factory supermoto would feel. Now that I know that, I really don't think that that someone who gets a dual sport and throws 17s on that thing has a fake supermoto. And in my opinion, I actually think that that's better for the street and for the canyon and stuff like that than a factory supermoto would be. Just because it's not smooth out here, you know, you got potholes, you got bumps and dips and all kinds of like cracks in the road and all kinds of stuff. And since we're talking about fake supermotos, my bike here is about as fake supermoto as you can get. You know, all I did is I bought street tires for it. It's still got the 21-inch front wheel and it's still got the 18-inch rear wheel. I just bought a 21-inch street tire for the front and a 18-inch street tire for the back. And that's it. And I really think that the benefit to going with the 17-inch rims is just tire options. You know, you have all the different tire options that I have, like with the Duke 690 or with the RC8, or you know, like bikes like that are actual street bikes, or you can actually get track tires. You know, I'm sure that like when it comes down to actually getting racing slicks for the track, they probably only come in 17-inch. So you pretty much have to have your bike supermotoed out in order to get track tires, if that's what you want to do when you take it to the track. But as far as for the street, this setup, in my opinion, what I have done with this bike is the absolute best that you could do. I guess you could say it's the absolute fakest supermoto that you can get, with the 21 and the 18-inch rims. It's totally fake. I'm totally faking like I got a supermoto right now. You know, people are like, oh, you don't got a supermoto, man, you just got a dual sport with street tires on it. You didn't even put 17s on that thing. Yeah, but here's the thing. You know how much smoother it makes the road feel with like a 21-inch wheel in the front versus a 17-inch wheel. Like if you hit a bump or you hit a pothole, dude, that 21-inch rim is gonna like plow right through that like super smooth versus the 17. And if you do what I did, you only spend like 250 bucks. Spend $200 on your tires and $50 getting them mounted and balanced, and you're good to go. And that's it. You don't have to spend $1,200 or $1,500 or whatever it is to actually do a real supermoto conversion. Because honestly, for what most people do on the street, this right here is more than good enough. You know, like I can go plenty fast right now. Don't really need to go too much faster. So that's pretty much it for real versus fake supermotos. That's what I had to say. What a while back I would have considered a fake supermoto here is actually, in my opinion now, the best for the street. The absolute best choice that you can have. So you guys have a great day. I will talk to you later.